Sorry. I was trying to find you.
Oh yeah, I was like, the first part of my live was like, and there we go.
I know, and people are popping on. Thank you, everybody, for hanging tight there. Whoops. Right. Hi.
Okay, hi, how are you doing?
Okay, I feel like I need to match your height, so I am going to sit up a little higher. There we
I
go.
can also,
Yeah. So we're not so lopsided.
yeah, which is also funny. Me,
Hmm.
I said like taller than anybody, I think is hilarious. So,
How
so
have you been? How have you been with
I'm
all?
sorry. I'm doing well. And it's been so exciting to be able to
Yeah.
share regression with other people. And I already added it to the playlist or one of my playlists on
Yeah.
my. So I'm really hoping people get a chance to really check that out.
Yes, I did. What some of the participants here today, we actually did this regression. When was it? Like in October? Late
Yeah, it was
October.
back.
Late October, I was actually on vacation and visiting a friend in Ohio, and I was staying in her daughter's room, and I had completely forgot that I had actually scheduled a few things, including yours. So that day it was just, yeah, I was actually in Ohio and I'm then back at home in Los Angeles. So um, that was wild discovering all of that at that time. And I know that you've done some processing.
Yes, I have. I was fixing some audio things because some people were saying that my audio was acting weird. Okay, but we'll see. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Um,
Okay. Hmm.
but yeah, okay. So if that goes out, please let me know. I will trust you to tell me.
I will.
um, I think okay, because I want to jump into this and I want to get to everything, but first I want to go in a little bit of an order just to so that you can be introduced to all of my people that are watching right now. So please, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I am Mayra with Soul Signs Hypnosis. I'm really happy to be here and talk to you guys, answer your questions about past life regression, about quantum hypnosis, and my background. I'm here to answer all of your questions. So just let me know.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go ahead with the question for them because it was certainly something that I was wondering the first time I talked to you. Can you explain the whole quantum hypnosis and what is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there are different modalities that kind of get you to the same destination. A very popular one that is floating, around social media is QHHT. That is Dolores Cannon's technique. I am a level 2 practitioner. Um, so QHHT stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and Dolores discovered that through it is a past life regression. It's just done in a certain way, the way she wanted it. So it's very authentic to the way she wanted to do it, which was in person. Okay. QHHT official, they're pretty strict about keeping the integrity of the way she did it for so many years. And what it is QHHT, you're seeing multiple lives, not just one. So it's a longer, much longer session. You, Rebekah, have not had that yet. You and I are just doing past life regression. So you get to see multiple lives, and then you contact the higher self because you are literally in a trance. You are in that perfect brain state to reach the higher self and allow the channeling to begin. We are all natural channelers, right? So you come with a list of questions that you want to ask your higher self. Big questions, perhaps about things that happened in your past, traumas, why you had to experience certain things. Your higher self will tell you, okay? Now, the higher self isn't really about talking about your future stuff, because remember, you still have goals and contracts to fulfill. Even though you do have free will, they're not going to give you all the gifts of what you came here to grow, right, and learn. So you have to be very careful. I always try to help my clients word things a certain way because I already know it's like they're not going to answer that. I already know that. So then I also have my own version of QHHT, and I call it quantum hypnosis. So I'm able to do that online. So I just kind of created my own version, and there are many versions, not just mine. You know, there's aura hypnosis, there's introspective hypnosis, there's beyond quantum healing. There are many online versions. So this is a very safe technique to also do online. I'm an advocate for it. I absolutely love it. I've been able to help people from all over the world doing the quantum hypnosis, okay? We just don't call it QHHT. But I am available here to do in person if you're in Southern California. And I also offer Life Between Lives, which is an extension of Past Life Regression. The Life Between Lives takes you to the last life you just came out of. Okay. Are we still on with volume and all good?
Yeah,
I'm almost done. Almost done.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So that will take you to the very last life that you had. And we will explore that past life, see the last day of your life, and take you up to what happens after you die, right? So in the Life Between Lives, it's so incredible. You get to see your spirit guides, see your soul family, who is in your soul group. You get to talk to your, it's a council, a member, a council that you have that has been with you lifetime after lifetime. And it's just so, so beautiful. So I offered that. And then also the past life regression, which you've been experiencing with me. Ta-da! That's it. That was a mouthful.
No, that was great. That was great. I especially, because I was like taking notes on my fingers. This is what I do. I like wrap my fingers to be like, must do. One of the things I love that you said was that everybody can naturally channel. And that's something that I believe, wow. And I actually got a question about this. Somebody asked, somebody mentioned something about having a block with hypnosis. So if somebody were to come to you and say, I'm blocked with hypnosis, what would you say to them?
Okay, well, first, why do they feel that way? You know what I'm saying? Because that's simply the ego, doubt, fear kicking in. So this is what I tell my clients during when they're getting ready to have a session. There are 4 brain states. 4. There is not a 5th called hypnosis. Okay? So we carry so much weight on, I can't get there. It's like, yeah, you can, because you do it every day. This is a very natural state. Every time you go to sleep, you go to sleep in beta state, then you go to alpha, then you go to theta state, then you go to delta, which is asleep. Hypnosis lies right in between alpha and theta state. So when people say, I can't get there, you're basically saying, I don't sleep, right? So you're creating your own blocks by just saying, I can't get hypnotized. It's like, yeah, you can. It's simply a focus of attention, which you naturally do when you go down at night.
Yep.
So I hope that makes sense.
Yes, at least I understood. And I would say too, with channeling spirits, for anybody on Mayra's side who's like, who is this person talking? Hi, I'm Rebekah the Ghost Guide. I talk to spirits, big surprise. It's the same way. I found that as I'm reopening and becoming more aware of what's around me, because I didn't have to actively reopen, the reason why I was having issues for so long was I had placed these blocks on myself of like, I can't listen to this. It's not real. This is made up. This is imagination, that sort of thing. And so when you think about how it works the same way with channeling through hypnosis, I mean, it's very similar, at least in the broad of it.
Yeah, yeah. If you go on my TikTok, there are many, many clients experiencing um, quantum hypnosis or QHHT. And when their guidance comes through, they're just channeling. I'm asking questions, and they're literally hearing it in their mind like a thought. You have to be and just let go, fully trust. You're not thinking about what you're saying, you're just allowing it to flow. My clients that you hear channeling galactic beings, they don't channel. They don't get up every day and channel. This is actually done in a session, and they're in complete and full trust. By that time they've let go. They've just completely let go. And it's just beautiful, beautiful information that's coming through. So I'm so proud of them when they do that.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
I don't think I told you. There was a part during my session where I was hearing somebody ask me questions that sounded like you, and it wasn't you. Like, I looked back and
Hmm.
played the audio, and I was like, she didn't ask me that question.
Yeah.
So it was my
Yeah.
guy. You know, that
Yeah.
she was
You're
asking,
hearing it.
yeah, she
Hmm.
was like, you know this later. And I didn't know it at the time. I was just like, good question. And yeah, I think so. That's part of the reason why I was rather descriptive on a number of things.
Very cool. That's really cool. Yes.
I
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you go.
We're almost a continent away from each other, so I think there's going to be a little bit of lag.
Yes. Hmm.
uh, so I wanted to talk, because we're kind of getting into that a little bit more. I'm checking the notes on a bit more on like the soul groups, as well as what it takes to get into that hypnosis. So one thing I'll explain from my point of view, and then I want to hear your thoughts on it as well, with having worked with people. One, I get the common question of, how is it that I've met spirits that I've also known in past lives? And the way that I'm able to make sense of that is, when you're a medium and you're regularly communicating with spirits, it's kind of like, I feel like my soul team got together at some point and they were like, this is the life where she starts to open up and she starts to meet more. And also she starts to deal with karmic ties that otherwise were not tied up when the people were inside of their physical skin suit, as I like to say. Now, that being said, kind of going to the hypnosis element of it, and how you work with me and how you've worked with many other people on how to clear the brain in order to get into the hypnosis state. I remember we talked about, like, what was I looking for in having this session? And while I talked about wanting to go back to that past life with Rupert, for me, it was more important that I handed off the reins to my soul team and
Yeah.
my guides, and be like, okay, you choose. And basically with Rupert,
Yeah.
I didn't do this. I asked you for the session if he could hang out in the van with me, because I live in vehicles. This should not be a surprise. And
Hmm.
as you were talking me down into that regress state, at one point he started talking to me, and I started to ping him, because I was like, no, stop, you need to be quiet, you are not going to distract me from this, I will tell you.
You didn't tell me that. That's
No,
cute
I
though.
didn't.
And see, that's how you need to talk to your ego, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's this little voice. It's the same thing that you have to kind of shut it down and just, nope, quiet. Yeah,
And
silence
he
it.
did too. Yeah, he was like, oh, sorry, I realized that you were hearing me, like that kind of thing. And I was like,
Oh
exactly,
my God.
stop. So yeah, go into part of the soul family, the idea of, traveling through time with this group of people, as well as the state that you're able to get people into when they're being regressed.
Can you repeat that? My son just sent me a rose, and
Oh,
sorry, it was so cute. I didn't know that he was on here, and he's so cute.
well, that's great.
Repeat the question.
So if you could go into some more detail about soul families and how they travel,
Yes, gotcha.
and the aspect of regressing a person down into that, like, preparatory work, and the tidbits that you can share on how you.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, there's so many ways to go into this. It is so convoluted. We feel so present as humans. We're so like in it. We're so anchored. But what you need to understand is 100% of your consciousness is not here. Okay? You are only a fragment of who you really are. A fragment. This is, you are tethered with your higher self, right? Someone once explained it to me. I don't know who, so whoever said it this way, I give you kudos because I do use it. Think of an octopus, right? And the head of an octopus is your higher self. And then the tentacles are all of the experiences that your higher self is having. Think that we do call it past lives. Yes, we call it past life regression, but it's really all happening now. Your higher self is having these experiences in different timelines, different realms, different dimensions, alternate universes, right? So I just really wanted to convey that because that has a lot to do with if you ever want to explore a life between life. When you go up, you get to see your soul family, and it can get a little confusing because you're going to see your grandfather's soul, but he's here on earth, but he's up there, right? Well, yeah, because only a fragment of him is here. So it's so interesting to go up there and see who is in your soul group. You could have 15, 20, 30 people in your soul group. And each time you come back, you just volunteer. A husband can be a brother in the next life. And when you're experiencing it in during the regression, it's not gross, it's not weird. When I ask, do you recognize that person in your current life? I hear some pretty strange things. It's like, oh my God, yes, my husband is my sibling, right? But it's not weird when you're in that state. It's weird as a human, right? We are speaking as a human, that's weird. But as a higher being, a higher consciousness, no big whoop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, I love that analogy of the octopus and all the different lives that you can possibly have. And you guys, you are connected to your higher self always. When you feel that little tap on your shoulder, when you have waves of creativity, beautiful thoughts, positive things, call this person. Your higher self is the one that keeps you in line with your destiny, right? Your higher self knows what you agreed, but again, you do have free will. You can ignore it. You can. It won't be good though, because remember, if you don't learn if you don't learn your what you came for, you come back and do it again. So that kind of sucks.
well, that's true for the two regressions that I've done. When you think
Yeah.
about my connection with who I found in this life as George, I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
I think I learned it in the second life that I knew him, where he was my husband, and I came back and I was like, I'm gonna leave him. He's not good. So
Yeah.
it's moving up. It's leveling up.
Yes. I want to speak about because you touched on something and it's like, yeah, you are Rebekah the Ghost Guide. You're a medium. You get to, um, have relationships with these beings that just don't leave, they stay. And remember, it is simply a fragment of who they once were. You say that, who they once were, right? But their higher self is still having experiences somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
They've just stayed. Why they stay, I don't know. I am not a medium. I don't know about that. Perhaps you know the answer to that.
So I would say it has to do, once again, all personal choice, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the choice has to do with they need to finish something or they need to learn something in the life cycle that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So they pursue that and they don't always know what exactly it is. Sometimes they know. Sometimes it's like, oh, staying behind because, a child is growing and want to get involved in that process, or closely involved, as close as they can. And other times it's like some of them are just looking for something and they just kind of look and look and look until they finally just find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting what you're saying too, with the connection of, like we're here, but we're also there, and we might be over there as well, all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm working with others during my consultations to talk with their loved ones, to talk with their spirit guides, it's a fascinating sort of thing when I'm I'm connecting with a version of their loved one, but
Yeah.
also their loved one is like there, but also
Mm-hmm.
their loved one like ready to move on into the next life. And it's like a cool thing that all of it's kind of stacked and like happily stacked that way. It's just, I
Yeah.
think for us in the physical, hard for us to understand because we're like, but wait, we're here, we're in a body. Whereas for that, the
Yeah.
spirit stuff, just it works like this, and it's just
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
all right. Well, already I wanted to do the quick blurb, and then I want to get into a short synopsis of my past life regression, just to kind of get people caught up, but as well as the
Mm-hmm.
timeline of that. But before I get to that, can you tell folks how to contact you, how to reach you?
Yes. So, I don't, can they see my name, Soul Signs Hypnosis? You can give me a
Yeah.
follow. Thank you so much. I have the most amazing clients that allow me to share parts. It's hard to put, a whole hour session in part one, part two, part three, but I do my best to create really great content to help people. And, most of my clients do say that. It's like, that's how I found you on TikTok. You can absolutely, oh my gosh, yesterday I regressed somebody and I will be sharing it. I've done various where they've been either burned, as a witch or hung as a witch. But yesterday was a new one I had never heard of, where they 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 weighed her down with rocks and stones, and she drowned. That was her punishment. It was like, oh my gosh. And so I will be posting that, but I do that also, to allow my clients to learn. There's so much to learn, and yeah, some of them are very entertaining and fun, but there is learning and growth and healing no matter where you go, right? So you can give me a follow. I do have a link on the top of my profile, and that will take you everywhere. It's my website, my YouTube channel, my Instagram. There's a couple of podcasts there that you can listen to as well. And if you just want to check out my website, that's soulsigns.net. But the
Awesome.
easiest way is just hit that link.
Yep. I say that because I'm always just like, hey, all of the information's in my bio in case you want to check
It's
that out.
all there. Yeah. Someone just commented drowning was a Nordic witch trial method. Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. So thank you. Thank you for that. That will
Yeah,
be interesting to research when I share that session.
yeah. You must have learned over the years just from other people's experiences.
Mm. Someone else says that was a sort of test I heard. If they float back up, they're a witch. If they didn't, they're innocent. And dead. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
or something like that. Yeah.
Just so barbaric. All of it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, cool. So going into my past life regression,
Yeah.
so I've done two with you. This one went back to primarily 1781. And once again, with my experience with Rupert, yes, he's told me what he could remember and what he has been able to remember, which also the regression jogged his memory as well, which was super cool. He was like, oh yeah, and that, and that, and that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super cool because he's once again figuring that out and coming out of the fog and that sort of thing. So with this regression, I was able to see when I first met him, I was able to see Wilmington from that time period.
That's incredible.
I was able to recognize it because it was weird. Like I first got there, there was like this small shock because it was like, I recognize this. Am I here? Am I here? Am I here? And then I looked downriver and I expected to see the drawbridge. And the drawbridge, of course, wasn't there because it was built in the 1950s. And I was like, oh, and then I was like,
wow.
Like in my mind, I was seeing all the stuff that I had heard about and like I had sometimes like read about or had seen in pictures or like drawings from that time period. And I was just like looking around like, like there it is. I knew where Mary's house was. It was confirmed that Mary's father was Thomas, who we found out was Rupert.
Wow.
And yeah, it's so that happened.
So you've done some research.
Yes.
I love that.
I've been all over the place. Like
wow.
It's been very exciting. But with that, I also another question that people ask are like, don't you ever see people you know in your living life? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. I saw 2 people that were nice in that regression who I'm not going to say, but same thing with the previous regression that I did with YouTube. So I'm not just seeing ghosts. It's just that the internet knows of the ghost.
Yeah.
Therefore. But yeah, what was great with the regression was I was able to get a lot more confirmation on some of the things that Rupert was saying, but I was able to see it from my perspective rather than like what he was telling me. And I was also able to find what happened to Mary, that, you know, how did she pass? That was also very good for him to know because he didn't know. I mean, he passed beforehand and there was just like so much confusion there. I wanted to say too, just as a quick disclaimer, on some of my videos where I've been so emotional about it, the reason for, I know with the regression, I certainly didn't leave feeling terrible. Like you do a lot of work to, you know, uplift a person before they come out of that state. Though what was especially painful for me, I think in hindsight, was the concept that a very important person from that life had not fully moved on and they were still living in that pain. And that's why I felt so heavily like that, because I feel like with most regressions, well, I'm not going to say most because I don't know I don't do what you do, though I feel like with some regressions, you know, the life cycle continues and you see your soul family and you are able to move on. So I felt like kind of like this heavier thing that I knew a part of Rupert and continue to know a part of Rupert that was from that life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yes, it was such a sad ending, even while I was regressing you. And you are a natural narrator, right? One of the things that I always tell my clients is tell me everything you see in as much detail. Tell me the story, right? So for some people it's a little hard, but that comes so natural for you. And that's why your regressions and your recordings, it's like you could just sit there and just listen to it like it's a story. It's just so beautiful. Even the slightest detail at the end, at the spider web, right? It's like, what? I mean, you're so remarkable when it comes to those details. Yeah,
thanks.
really beautiful. Have you put the full session or the full thing on your YouTube? Have you done that?
So I shared the video that you have on your YouTube in a playlist on my YouTube. So if anybody wants the full regression, they can. I also have been releasing snippets, like different scenes on my Instagram. they're too long for a 3-minute bit on TikTok. And I'm getting some questions on
Yeah.
Thomas versus George. I'll explain real quick. So
Yes.
um, basically, George in a maybe even past life, was Thomas, who was the father of Mary, who was me,
Yeah.
who also very likely, probably, yes, killed Rupert. And then by extension,
Yeah.
killed Mary because Mary got pregnant with Rupert's child and
Yeah.
suddenly was worthless to him. So it was a long, painful, awful sort of
Hmm.
death. And
Yeah.
that was rough. So that's the thing. Also for George, it was in either the next or the next or the next past life of his that I, in a different past life, around the mid 1800s, was his wife and then left him. So I hope
Hmm.
that clarifies some things for people who are like,
Yeah.
time, what?
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
You said something interesting. My regression was I remembered a nightmare. You said you'd never had that happen before?
No. No, I'm telling you, I think that you are just the fact that you are a medium and so open, you are perceiving the past life in every way imaginable, right? Sensing, feeling, knowing, hearing, right? All of it. Even tasting, smelling, because you even said that it smells.
Mm.
Not
Yep.
everybody can do that. You're just completely open. There's no blocks at all. Yeah.
I work
I
I
know
think
you too.
second regression with you was more clearer just because I've been actively doing work on my own block removals and
Hmm.
channeling thing, but also you with anybody you give instructions on, like things to do 5 days ahead and how to get into
Hmm.
the right brain and mindset and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that's also cool.
Yeah. Yes. It's very helpful. You just want to vibrate really high, Um, there are many people coming into this, still with fear, and you just need to know it's just like you're going to take a nap. You're going to, right? Isn't it? Like you're just going to lay down, take a nap, and you're just going to close your eyes and just allow the practitioner to guide you. That's it. So you're going in that same direction that you do when you go to sleep. You just don't go all the way. And what you have is your practitioner saying, just before you get to drop into that sleep, your practitioner saying, okay, go right. Now go down that hall, right? And you're just going to hear that voice guiding you, counting you down, and bam, you're there. You're there.
Yeah. I remember
Yes.
regression, it scared me because I thought like I straight up fell asleep, and you said that I fell into it a lot faster.
You did. You did. In fact, I didn't even complete the whole induction, and you were already talking, and it was like, oh, okay, she's already there. Let's just go.
So I
Yes.
for the second regression because I was like, what did I miss? Like there was a
Yeah.
part of me in the back of my mind I was like, wait. Like but it was like being regressed for me as you were talking, like the hallway and that sort of thing. It felt like I was like on a roller coaster, and I like
Mm.
it was one of the 0 to 60 things of like, here you go, there's the light, boom, and
Yeah.
the next thing I knew, like the light's kind of in my eyes, and I'm looking
Mm.
around, and I'm like, I'm on the docks.
Mm.
Where I am, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a couple questions here that are good. Okay, so for Sud Bubbles and more, I like that. How do you get them blocked? Okay, so you have just planted a belief that you're blocked by asking that question. I'm not picking on you, but you need to just know that you're not blocked. You're not. The only thing that blocks you is the belief that you're blocked. We are all open. This is all very natural. Believe And that's it. That's the important thing. Trust, stay in trust, allow. But when people say I'm blocked, it's like, okay, then you're blocked. You've already set the stage for being blocked. You've already told the ego, block me, right? So I get that question a lot, and it's just you're not blocked. You're really not. It's just the belief that you are. Okay? So that was a really good question I really wanted to address. Are you aware during the life regression, or is it dreamlike state? I'll let you answer that. I know the answer, but since you experienced it, go ahead.
Yeah, so I felt like fully in control. Like if something had happened and I was too much, I'd be like, oh, get me out of this. You're also very attentive when through that. Like there were a number of times that I was getting emotional because I was getting too close to what was happening rather than being able to view it a non-biased sort of way. But it's an interesting kind of balance because I felt like my mind was kind of running a movie, but at the
Yeah.
same time, if I needed to be up and aware, I absolutely could be. And I never felt like I was in danger by just letting go. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You are safe. You have to understand that your higher self will never show you what you cannot handle. Okay. One of the questions that I get a lot is, do you see murder? Do you see bad things? I'm scared to see bad things. And it's like, okay, well, the higher self isn't going to show you the blood, the gore, the death. We have all done bad things, and we've all had bad things done to us. That is the law of karma. We are not going to come into our lives having perfect lives, smelling roses, right? We come here sometimes to be that bad parent, okay? And so on and so on. I can go down a list of experiences, and it's all in the lessons. It really, really is a lesson. Everyone is playing a role, right? And now I'm losing my track going into that direction. I wanted to answer a question. Where was I? What was I saying in the beginning? Oh my God. Now I'm kind of going off
It was like
on
what if
the karma, the law of karma. Yeah, we've done it all. We've been rich. We have been poor. Some people say, "Well, why would I come into this life being poor, struggling financially?" It's like, "Well, you've been rich before." You know? You've done it all. You've been on every country, in every continent. You've been every color. You've spoken different languages. You move around this great big world trying everything, and your soul group goes with you. They go with you. You guys decide, okay, where are we going to be? Where are we going to go? I have had some of my clients, my, Caucasian clients, go into a life where they are black women or a black male, a slave. And we've been everything. Eskimos, Indian, Native American, everything. Okay?
and you mentioned before too that it's all kind of happening at the same time. So these
Yeah.
lessons are around us. It's just a matter of us in this particular forum reaching out to figure out what those lessons are at different times.
Mm-hmm. And there are things that can be happening in that life that are affecting you today.
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch on that real quick because this is really, really important. Anxiety. Sometimes it's like you don't even know where it's coming from, right? So sometimes it is actually coming from a parallel life, something that is happening now. Recently, I helped a young man that all of a sudden during COVID, he became afraid to fly. Okay. And he traveled quite a bit. And during COVID, he did get stuck in another country because the flights weren't releasing. They weren't allowed to fly. So he got stuck out there, I think, in Colombia for several months. But it started getting worse. The anxiety started getting worse when he reached out to me. So what we found was Like he wanted to travel. He loved traveling, but the thought of it, he goes, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't even think about getting on a plane right now. So I regressed him specifically to go to the past life or wherever this healing needs to be looked at. And he jumped into a parallel life. A parallel life is happening now, just like everything else, but it's actually parallel, meaning it's current. It's a modern life, and it was taking place in Brazil, where he saw himself as a 20-something-year-old man living in the slums in Brazil. And his boss, mentor, father figure who gave him a break, and he started growing within the company. It was a really nice life, the relationship there, and it was like I didn't know where this was going. But as it turns out, I took him to an important day, and he was having breakfast, watching the news, and it was like CNN, Brazil. And his best friend had died on an airplane crash with the whole family. They were all completely wiped out. And he was shocked. He was just shocked. That's how he found out. Now, what happens is this fear, this feeling, this pain, this sadness bridges over to your current life. You are not consciously aware of it unless you have a session, right? Where you can tap into it. The answers are often there. They're somewhere. So we did some therapy so he can get on a plane again. Seeing it right there, that's the most important therapy right there. Seeing it and knowing, oh my God, I don't need to feel this anymore.
Yeah. I would say too, a quick thing, because I'm getting a lot of questions, so many that I no, I can't go back and get to all of them, but some of you, and I'm going to do a quick plug here for Mayra, some of you are asking that I think you could look on her TikTok and find answers to through seeing the other people that has regressed, or going on YouTube and seeing the longer sessions that she's released.
Yeah.
I'll let you take off on that, Soul Sign Hypnosis, that kind of thing, but I'll let you that plug real quick.
Yes, if you're just joining us, you can go to my TikTok. I do have a link. It's a link tree that will take you to explore my website, YouTube, Instagram, and yeah, YouTube has a little bit more longer versions of some of my sessions. I still have quite a bit to put on there. But yeah, TikTok there's such a variety of galactic, quantum and past life regressions, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So yeah, for that, the other thing was I going to reiterate for some folks that just joined, asking about some more details on my past life as Mary, aka the Mary of Rupert's interests, I guess, in 1781. Some people are asking how she died. Honestly, Mayra, you can weigh in on this. I would say malnutrition, and that was on her own part.
Yeah, also, and I think a broken heart. Yeah.
Yep.
Broken heart, and her heart was so broken. Even being pregnant, she was losing weight. She was so sick. A bit homeless, where she ended up going with an aunt that was just so sick. It was very sad, and she died in bed, looking at a spider web. Yeah.
Yep. So once again, that full my full regression is now in a playlist on my YouTube. So if you subscribe to that already, you can see that, or you can go to Mayra's at Soul Sign Hypnosis. I also have little snippets of these things on Instagram. Just my Instagram is RebekahTheGhostGuide. It's linked up in the bio as well. And those are just like the 5 to 10 minute segments of like scenes you see in a life.
Yeah.
And somebody said, died of a broken heart. Why? Because Rupert was dead and her baby had died.
Yeah.
So it was really sad.
It was Really, really sad.
Um,
Yeah.
Somebody also
Mm.
asked if buried in Wilmington. So I understand where Rupert's body might be. He's also darkly joked about half of him being washed away in the river by now.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, I understand he was buried on this, no, the north side of town, which would have been unoccupied at that point, and
Mm.
was, it was in a location where during flooding, if the graves weren't deep enough, they would have just, um,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, but that happens in old towns. I mean, you see that in
Hmm.
Wilmington, you see that in Savannah, you see it in Charleston.
Right.
And somebody asked where Mary was buried. It was likely that little family plot that that's where her grandfather was. It's
Hmm.
where her was. And where that is now, I know it's north of here, but I would not be surprised if that was under some, residential neighborhood at some point. It because
Hmm.
and
Right. Oh yeah. That's so that's so disturbing. I saw your video about like some of the streets where you live, how there's bodies down there. Oh my goodness.
um,
Yeah.
I this question that I've been wondering
Mm.
because I feel like my regression with Rupert in that life was so sad. I mean, like for you, when you regress to other people, I mean, are the lives generally that sad or like what are we looking
Some are.
at?
Yeah,
Really?
some are, but there's still learning. I don't want people to be afraid of what is shown. When you hit that button to have a session, your guides and your higher self are already going to work. They already know what they want to show you. Which one of those little octopus, you know, tentacles? Is it a tentacle? Is that what you call it? What they want to show you? Yes. Um, so there's nothing to fear. Just stay open. There's always learning. There's so much learning about yourself. You'll make the connection of why certain things are shown to you. Yeah, it's really
And
interesting.
once again, I remember after the regression, you take steps to bring the person back in a really great mood, which was, I would say, the only reason
Hmm.
why, like, basically after my regression, after we had ended our phone call, the only reason why I got sad again was I somehow got myself in the mindset of, like, did I put Rupert in the fugue by not knowing he died? And I kept asking for him. And so, like, he was like, oh no, do not get upset. And I'm like, I am upset. Like, I am in a good mood, but I am upset.
Wow.
Me.
Wow. So he was there when you were having your session,
He was working
hearing.
very hard, quiet,
Oh my
and
God.
here, just as any,
Wow.
because remember I told him I'd throw him out at any point. Also, my spirit guide was also like very close to me. I think she kind of put like a bit of a shield up as well, just to be like, you're not going to hear his thoughts. He's not here.
Mm.
Like we
Hmm.
talked about it afterwards. And of course, he said that it brought him a lot of relief
Hmm.
because he didn't know what happened to Mary and he didn't know what happened to the baby. And so, even,
Wow.
yeah, like even an understanding that they had passed, it was at least allowing him to understand that so that he could have that closure as well. So thanks again to you for
Hmm.
allowing me
Yes.
to place.
Oh, well, it's always so great working with you. I do have some of my followers here. Why don't you explain in case they don't follow you? What is it that you do?
Okay, so I talk with spirits. I talk with spirit. Nearly said spirit people, but they're a lot more more common
Hmm.
medium and work with folks during consultations to connect with their guides or connect with their folks or just connect with them. And once again, I want people to understand that we all can channel and we all can connect and we all can create this understanding for ourselves. And that's why rather
Yeah.
than just doing traditional readings for people, I do consultations because I want it to be a conversation and I want people to walk away from their time with me feeling like they have homework that they can do and they don't have to constantly rely on people like me just to talk to their loved ones.
Hmm. Yeah. Someone's asking if you're back in Wilmington.
Yes, I am back in Wilmington.
Hmm.
I love it so much.
Yeah. Looks like such a charming town from your videos.
I love it. If you're ever out
Hmm.
here, the grand tour, I will
I
take you to
will.
all of this.
I would love that. And same, when you're in LA, let me know. I would love to give you a hug, a proper hug. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, let's see if there's some there is do you immediately recognize someone in your past life that is in your current life? It's not immediate. Sometimes we need to actually ask. Um, some of my clients, they surprise me when they see someone, they hear it, see it, it's like, oh wow, this is so and so. But I would say that's maybe 15% of my clients that it's like automatic. But no, usually I have to prompt you. Um, I like to really like get an onion and I peel this onion. And that would be the difference between having a past life meditation versus working with a practitioner is the practitioner is really going to peel the onion and get that story. You're not just standing in a room looking, right? That it's like, what is that? You know, you're not getting much. Yes, you are seeing, you might see yourself and the place around you, but you know, you've got to dig and ask those questions that go deep, that run deep, that will prompt your higher self to give you the answers. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Someone asked a fun question. They may have been meaning me specifically, and my quick answer to can you find records of your past lives in, just general record keeping, that sort of thing. It is very
Hmm.
hard to find, like for me, for Mary's past life, and then I'd love to hear because I know you've had some people find themselves. Uh,
Yes.
so Mary, I'd have to find a birth record from her or a baptismal record.
Hmm.
Hard to find when everything was literally written down, and a lot of the record keeping went with the English when they pulled out and went back to England after the Revolutionary War.
Mm.
So that's been my uphill climb and
Yeah.
working with archives in London right now. So
Wow.
it's been a thing, but I know you have had people find their people a lot
Hmm.
faster. So
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. There are, and you know, it's so great how sometimes they'll email me and with some facts about who they were. One of them is just kind of coming to me recently, where my client was a woman, and she was one of the very first engineers for NASA, and she was building a rocket, and it was like her baby, and she still has to get back to me about who she was because I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to share that. That to me was so interesting. She was so married to her work. I don't know if some of the listeners heard the pet reincarnation story that I put up. It's actually her, okay? That was just one of her lives. She saw herself as a sheriff, and oh my God, it's just the cutest thing where her horse from that life where she was a sheriff is her dog today. And she is crying at the recognition, and it's the sweetest thing. But then she jumped into another life, and that happens sometimes in a past life regression. I move you to another scene, an important day, and all of a sudden they're saying, I am not the same person. And so it's like, all right, you get a bonus. Let's go. So, and that's who she was. She had this rocket, and you know, I briefly went on Google to see some of these. It's like, oh my God, there are, look at all these women that she could have been. So I've got to reach out to her and see if she discovered which one she was. It was really interesting.
Yeah, that's exciting. I
Yeah.
just have you seen the movie Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures. I want to say, yes, it sounds very familiar.
It's about 3 Black women who worked to get
I saw it. I
Neil
saw it.
Armstrong. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That was good.
she was working on a rocket. Then I guess
Yeah.
that's not a name. But anyway,
Yeah, very, very smart. She was so smart, so intelligent. Um, it was really cool, and that's on my list to share. So I'll give her some time to see if she discovers who she was. Otherwise, I'll just, the story itself is interesting. Perhaps you could be also in another alternate universe, that is very Earth-like. Same thing. Another place that isn't here, that she could have built that rocket there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
fantastic. Well, our
Yeah.
time is down, and I wanted to reiterate for people asking great questions about Mayra's specific regressions. Remember, you can go on her YouTube, you can go on to her TikTok, her website, her YouTube's all linked up in her TikTok. That's Soul Sign
Yeah.
Hypnosis. Of course, you can click on to her page and get
Yeah.
on. I would encourage people, if you have questions too on the videos, please leave a comment. Like, I can't answer all of these questions on past lives. Like, so I'm just like, give it to a professional.
Yeah. Yes, please do. I do. I try to answer all my questions. So feel free to explore and listen, because it'll trigger some questions sometimes when you hear some of the sessions, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we also have live scheduled for January. I don't remember which day, but there will be an event, and you check on both of our pages for that, and we'll be talking.
Yes, thank you. And I want to thank all of your followers who are following me now. Thank you. I'm looking forward to maybe regressing you one day. If not, just I hope you learn a lot. And again, I owe that to my clients that, love to share, and I really appreciate them all. I really owe the success of nothing like where you are, Rebekah, but it's really allowed my practice to grow. So I'm very much in appreciation. Thank you.
Absolutely. Obviously, I believe in Mayra. I believe in what she does, and I trust you so much. Like,
Oh,
really,
thank you. Yeah, so just real quick, I have been doing past life regression since 1999. It's been a long time. I've seen how it's changed, and adding the QHHT came much later. But honestly, I love, love, love the past life regression, and it's not what it used to be. Years ago, we weren't as connected to our higher selves the way we are now. So it was kind of random, when I would regress somebody, they would go into a random past life that, there was a disconnect. But now, they're very purposeful. There's a reason they show you what they do. They always get it right. Okay. And it's really neat. So much healing just from that one session.
Yes.
Yes.
And for folks who did just happen to join, so long as Clock App agrees with me, I'm going to be posting this full live on my YouTube as quickly as I possibly can. And
yes.
Yeah, I just thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for the regression. And
Lourdes, hi. And a friend of mine just popped on. What a surprise. Nice to see you. All right. Thank you all so much. Yeah, so I think I can save this as well and put it on my YouTube. Yeah?
Yeah, you should, as long as Clock App gods agree with
us. Yes, okay.
Yep, more people.
Thank you so much, Rebekah. It's been so wonderful working with you, and yeah, I can't wait we got to see if maybe Molly comes through for you now. Yeah, I'm hearing some of those comments. Come on.
Oh, that would make me so happy.
Maybe you were one of those girls that she hung out with. Who knows? What era is she from?
So she's from
Mm.
1830s, 40s.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know things aren't linear, but that would
Yeah.
be between the past life with Rupert and the
Mm.
past with George. So that
Yeah.
there is an open spot there. So who knows?
Oh my gosh, that is funny. Well, you never know. You let me know if you want to explore when you're ready again.
Will do. I'm happy to.
All right, my dear. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
All right. And thank you all. And take care. All right.
Yay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.